How you doing, YouTubers? This is Galen. Um, uh, I know I made a video on. Sorry, gotta. I know I made a video on my dump truck for people that start the dump truck. If you don't know, I bought a 1986 Freightliner Classic, and I got gypped. I'm not gonna lie to anybody. The seller got me really good for $18,000, and it was the excitement of buying my own truck, but also my lack of mechanical knowledge. You know, I didn't know no better, and this is a learning curve, and this is for people that are maybe trying to go out to purchase their first dump truck or their first truck, commercial vehicle. You know, what I can do is give you my experience of what I just went through and the money that I just spent. And at the end of the day, I can't be upset. I can only learn from it. You know, I just, you know, I go through my problems. You know, I can't allow that. You know, I just grow from it. That's all I can do is just grow from it, which I have. You know, and like I said, I'm making this video for people that are thinking about buying a new dump truck or just a truck, like I said, a semi, what to look out for. Like I said, I have an 86. You may be looking at a 90 or a 2000, 2015, but I still want you to look at this. You know, the components may be different, but they're labeled the same, but the parts of that component may be different. Like I have a leaf springs for my suspension. You may have airbags, but at the end of the day, look out for your suspension. So I got the truck February 1st, and I drove it from Beaumont, Texas to El Paso, Texas, which was 940 miles. Didn't have no problems the whole way. You know, I topped it off right outside of San Antonio, west of San Antonio, about mile marker 5 something. Top one tank off because I got 250-gallon tanks, but I was like, hey, I only need one. Topped it off, made it all the way to El Paso on that tank. Was feeling good about the truck, really feeling good. I was like, okay, I knew I needed to change the tire. All right. The seller, he was a pretty nice old guy, but you know, like I said, maybe he got me, maybe he didn't know that they had problems, but I feel like I got. He sold me he sold me the truck, gave me the title. We did all the paperwork. Drove down El Paso, got to El Paso. It snowed, and like I told you in the last video, snow messed up, you know, drained. So I charged the car up with my car. Charged the truck up with my car. And then I went looking for somebody to change my tire. I found a tire guy. He swapped 2 of my tires for a good price. He changed 2 of my tires, and he got rid of my old ones for a fairly recent price. So then I asked him about maintenance. I was like, hey, you know, do you do maintenance? He was like, no, but I got a guy that, you know, you go about 8 miles down the road. I can go ahead, you know, he'll go ahead and do it for you. I said, awesome. Found the guy. He was like, we looked over the truck, and he was like, okay, I see this, I see that. And I told him, I said, hey, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go get a state inspection to see what's the problem, what needs to be fixed, you know, and if you can do this and this. And he was like, okay. So I took it to go get inspected, and this guy, you know, I've heard of, you know, commercial truck inspectors where sometimes they just look and be like, oh, you're good. Here's your inspection. Not this guy. This guy came out with a creeper. To those who don't know what a creeper is, it's something you know, lay down and roll over under the truck. So anyways, he pulled out a creeper, and I already saw an oil spill that I had, little oil spill. I was like, oh, I'm gonna fail because of that. He told me straight off, I can't fail you because of an oil spill. That's not what I'm, you know, it's an old truck. But then he got back there by the suspension, and he pointed out, oh, this is wrong, that is wrong, your rods and this, and oh, your leaf springs and your hangers and your, you know, differential is leaking. And then he was like, oh, you ain't got no DOT tape in the back. And oh, he opened my hood, everything. Lights were good, air brake test was good. He did an air brake test, made sure that I had an alarm when my truck get low on air, and it does. So he was like, all right, you're good on that. Didn't care about the dirt and everything. So then he was like, oh, your gearbox is leaking. And he wrote all that down. And it was like 7 things. And I was thinking, oh, 7 things? Not nice. So he gave me a paper, said, hey, you failed your inspection, which I knew, but I just wanted to know what to fix. So took it back to my tech, and I'm thinking to myself, that's all I'm going to have to do is just fix my suspension, the gearbox, put some DOT tape in the back. Good. So paid for the suspension. Now I paid for a whole set of leaf springs. They're about 8 thick, so it was, you know, long, a little short, a little short, a little short. So it was about 8 thick on each, you know, so it was about 4, 2 on each side of the suspension. I bought an equalizer, which is the piece that goes in the middle of the 2 hangers. That basically the leaf springs go like that, you know. And then I bought a hanger in the back, and then I needed a hanger in the front. No, sorry, a hanger in the back, the equalizer. I bought all the tie rods, everything. Brand new suspension, about $4,000. That was about 4. Labor was about $750. So I'm thinking, done. Gearbox, I got the whole, you know, they rebuilt the gearbox, no problem. I'm thinking I'm good. Once again, still thinking I'm good. Oh man, it gets to the next thing was I had some air leak, which we can hear. Got the hoses. I'm thinking that's good. So I went to go get it inspected. Got the DOT tape, gearbox, suspension. Passed the inspection. Now, one thing that the truck had that I thought was something minor was in the transmission, it was difficult to go from low gear to high gear. Like I'll be in low gear, and then I'll pop it in high gear. And if you ever in a standard, when you go from low gear to high gear, it'll say, it'll be like clink. You know, you hear a clink. That's the transmission shifting from low to high. I didn't get that. I got, that's all I got. So I'm thinking to myself, me and the tech at the moment was like, oh, this is an air problem. We're just going to fix that. You know, boom, boom, boom. He fixed the air. Still didn't work. He checked some other stuff. Still didn't work. And then he was like, I got a feeling we're going to have to drop this transmission. And I'm thinking to myself. So he's like, first thing I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to drain some of the oil out. And I want to see if there's any shavings. Now, I'm thinking, this is a 36-year-old truck. The truck is the same age as me. Of course there's going to be shavings, you know, if this is the original transmission. But I wasn't expecting to see what fell out that transmission. He popped that thing open, and he put maybe maybe like 2-3 ounces inside a bucket. And it was like glitter. And then he spent the bucket around, and there was this big old metal piece in there. And he was like, look, we can drop it, open it, and just see what we're dealing with. That was the best and most upsetting decision that I had to make. He dropped the transmission, popped the top open, and there's a piece. I've learned a lot about the transmission. If you turn your transmission to the side and you open it, you're going to see just a bunch of gears. On the right-hand side, away from the bell housing, on the right-hand side, all the way down, there's this thing about this big. And basically, when you go from low gear to high gear, it shifts it over. You know, it goes just like that. Well, that thing was broke. That piece was broke. There was little arms that's supposed to connect, you know, supposed to be connected. That was broke. Also, it was cracked. My tech was like, I don't know how you got here. He was like, how did you get this truck here? And then he was turning where the drive shaft go. He was just turning it, and as he's turning it, he can be like, oh wow, that gear's broke, that gear's cracked, that, and there was just pieces of gear just broke everywhere. So I was pretty, of course, pretty upset, you know. And he gave me an option. He was like, look, I can sell you a transmission, because he runs a salvage yard, and I only have a 9-speed, you know. And he was like, I can get you a bigger transmission, smaller transmission, or 9-speed. He said, these are options. You get it smaller, then you have to cut and do some stuff with the drive shaft. And then if you go larger, you got to cut and do some stuff with the drive shaft, because it's going to be more gears or less gears. Oh, but he was like, I do have 2 9-speeds. He was like, I'm going to open it. We're going to inspect it, check it, boom, boom, boom. I was like, oh, I did not want to spend that money. $2,000 for all that, and then $500 to put it in. $2,000 because he has to drop it. That's the labor for that, and then for the transmission, $1,500, and then $500 to put the transmission in. Then I had to go buy a clutch kit, a clutch, some seals, and let me tell you something. Oil is $180, 5 gallons of I think it was 50 weight, 5 gallons, 180 came up like $212. Can't do nothing about it. So at that moment, when I took the truck for a test drive with the seller, and he told me, he was like, oh no, it's just the air, you know. And at that moment, I felt like I got gypped. I was like, man, I got gypped off this truck. I can't believe he got me like that. Which I like I said, I learned. So if you are in the market of buying a dump truck, I can just tell you, don't wear nothing nice. Wear something that you don't mind getting under the truck in. Look at your suspension. If you have airbags, check your airbags. If you have leaf springs, check your leaf springs. Check the U-bolts. I think I showed y'all a video. All my U-bolts are broke. All of them. You get 8 of them, you know, and because there's a little bracket, and then your U-bolts go over there. I had to buy the bracket because that was self-made. They made it themselves, but my other 3, thank God, were good. So I had to buy 8 U-bolts. I had to buy 8 U-bolts, U-bolt bracket, all leaf springs, everything. So check your suspension, check your tires. The transmission, like I said, I thought it was just a simple air. There's no way I could have known that the transmission inside looked like that unless you open it. But I do recommend, when you first get your truck, drain your transmission to check to see if there's shavings in there. If there's clip, you know, that's just something I did. Like I said, the engine is a Cummins 400. They say a big cam 400. That's in good shape for some reason. So I feel like as a buyer, these older drivers only cared about, as long as the engine, the brakes are good, that's all that matters. The drums, perfect condition. The brakes, great condition. The engine, good condition. But everything else, I needed to fix. Interior, didn't care about. So far, I've put probably about $13,000 in this truck, and I paid $18,000. And every day I wake up, I look online to where people sell dump trucks, and I'm like, I wonder what I could have bought with $30,000, because that's how much I've spent so far. And from what I've heard from people that purchase dump trucks is, you're gonna have to spend money on a dump truck, no matter if $20,000, $30,000. If it ain't brand new, you're gonna have to put money in it. So I kind of looked at it like this: I'd rather put $15,000 into an $18,000 truck than $15,000 in a $30,000 truck. I've seen online where guys buy a $50,000 truck, $60,000 truck, and they still got to go pay $20,000. Now, I think the reason why my truck is, you know, my tech ain't just say, you know what, we're not going to fix this, is because it's an older truck. So it's no computers. My truck has 0 computers in there. So, but for first time dump truck buyers, just look at that, you know, the suspension. Look behind, you know, your drives. And if you got pusher axles or drop axles, whatever you want to call them, just look at that and get under the truck. I know some of us, when we see these trucks, we're excited. We got the cash. We can buy it. You don't want to find nothing wrong. But look under the truck. Look under it. Take a flashlight. This is stuff that, hey, if I ever buy another used truck and I'll fix her up, or, you know, if I start doing good, because eventually I do want a new truck. I do want a 20-ton, something that can haul 20 tons. Because here in El Paso, to make good money, you got to be able to haul 20 tons or more. But if I do also want to buy another used truck that I can, you know, do some stuff to make it look nice and polish it out and stuff like that. But if you are buying your first truck, no matter how old it is, you have to look in it. You have to look in it. Because us as buyers, like I said, when you go buy your first truck, you got the cash right there in your pocket. And you see the truck and you're like, oh, I can fix that. That's minor. Headlight ain't worrying about. But then when you go start taking everything apart, yeah, I believe if I had a truck that had a DEF system or something more, I would have had to pay. I would probably spend $20,000 just in maintenance and stuff like that. So you know, watch out for, you know, your purchasers. I mean, your sellers. Some of them will try and rip you off. Check your brakes. Check them. You know, check your lines. Make sure your lines are not all. I had to replace them. Lines are not expensive, but I still had to replace them. Because remember, if you're not going to tow that truck, you're going to drive it. I drove it 900 miles. If one of those pieces in my transmission would have broke, can you imagine how frustrating it would have been to just buy a truck and have to tow it and have a $2,000-$3,000 bill? You know, I'm blessed that I made it to El Paso. So my truck's been in the shop for probably about a month because, like I said, it's more of just waiting for parts. The suspension took a week to get here. Suppose it took about 3-4 days. It took probably about 11 days to get here. Right now, the transmission should be put on. The rear, I had to get a rear main seal and everything. They're putting all that on. But I just wanted to update people. You know, that's what's going on with my dump truck. As soon as I get it on the road, I've already got my book. You know, I'm already registered my truck. That's another thing I'm going to talk to on my next video on registering your truck, what to look for, especially in the state of Texas. So once again, if you got any questions, please feel free to comment. Leave any questions. I will get back with them. I want to be a little bit more, put a little bit more content, do more videos a day. Especially when I'm driving, when I'm moving loads, you know, and stuff like that. Because I'm also a freight broker. But outside of that, you know, like, subscribe, ask any questions you have, and feel free to share these videos. Be blessed and have a nice day.